What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is Tuesday, September 10th. I've got another live trade for you here. So this morning we're looking at GbpCad here on the 15-minute. You can see I have two long positions in here. First position's up about 14 pips almost here. Second position up about 10 pips in profit. So let's flip over to TradingView and I'll show you what I liked about the trade, what I didn't like about the trade, and why I was a little hesitant to get in. So first, you can see we set the low here. We're looking at the 5-minute chart at about 162.30. This was at 4 o'clock in the morning. That low was confirmed at about 6:10, 6:15 in the morning. So once we had that bottom set, I could then understand that, okay, I'm going to stay long biased at least today because EMAs are trending up. The higher time frames, if we go to the 1 hour, it's trending up overall. You can see EMAs are starting to come into trend here. If we go to the 15-minute, same thing, EMAs in an uptrend overall. So the long bias was very clearly there. But I really wasn't confident to get in any time from when I was awake this morning from about 6 o'clock on because I couldn't find a solid entry formation. So what I decided to do was just let the trade build, let the trade develop, and if it was going to work out for me, I knew that it would end up presenting an entry signal for me. At about 8:15, 8:10, it ends up presenting the first breakout at the top of this wedge formation. After that first break, and I've seen this many times, it doesn't always just take off in the direction. It sometimes has to retest this pink trend line, retest the top of the wedge structure before moving higher. And that's exactly what it did. So I waited for the retest and got in once we made a really strong push off the 21 EMA, off the top of that structure again, saying, okay, we broke, we retested, and now we're definitely gonna hold and potentially move higher. It's always just about judging probability. So I knew that I could put about 20 pips worth of risk on here and see if this thing could go give me 20, 30, and I'm gonna try to get 40 or 50 out of this because it has a lot of space left on ADR, so I think it potentially could reach. So here we'll look back at the chart. You can see first position's up about 17 pips, second position up 13 pips. It's about 9:40 in the morning. We're gonna let this 15-minute candle continue to develop. We'll probably see more bullish momentum here. You can see it right now. And then at about 9:45, we'll adjust, maybe move stops into profit depending on how strong this candle is. So I'll check back in with you guys then and update you on how I'm managing this trade. All right, guys, it is 9:56. So I just closed half the position at just about 20 pips profit, which was 1 hour from that first entry. Now, the second entry, what I've done is move the stop loss into profit so I can't lose any money on this trade and I can just let the trade sit. I can close this in pieces, which I normally do as it continues higher because I don't want to get stopped at that stop at break even, but it's there in case it does shoot down, in case something does happen that pulls this lower. I wanted to make sure that we take some off, and as long as I continue to follow this system, because I'm winning more trades than I'm losing, we end up profitable in the long run. So now, it is almost 10 a.m. I have the stop locked, as you can see. Still have about 50% of the original size on, and we're gonna see if the trade can continue. So what I'm gonna do is let the trade just do its thing. If I get stopped here at break even, I'll come back on and update you guys, or if it continues higher and I piece myself out, I'll come back and update you guys on that. But I hope you learned something so far in the video. If you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed too, so you don't miss any of these daily videos. I try to put out at least one video per live trade per week. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of that. And like I said, I'll pop back on in a couple minutes and update you guys on how the trade finishes out. All right, guys, it is 10:04. I just got stopped in profit on the second half of the position. So if we just break down the trade real quickly, what we saw was the, like I said, consolidating wedge formation. It did break to the upside, retest, and then when it confirmed that break, that it was solid, that we were going to probably move higher, and the higher time frames also told me that we were going to move higher, I knew that it was a fairly probable trade that I could probably get some money out of it. So took the position. When it moved up to 1R, you guys saw I took half the trade off. That's what my system tells me to do. And I moved the stop to break even. The spread for me on this pair, because I'm using Owanda, fluctuates between 2 to 4 pips, just depending on the time, and it changes, right? So it ended up bumping me here as it's pulling back down. I think that we see it retesting this high of day that was set during the news, break early this morning that shoved it up at the beginning of the London session. So to see it coming back off that high isn't too much of a surprise either, just because you have sellers here from earlier this morning. So keeping that in mind, that's why I was happy to take some of this off. I think it still could rise overall. If you look at the higher time frames, look at the 15-minute, it looks like it's in an uptrend, right? Looks like it should continue higher as the day goes on. 1 hour's outside the 8, right? Everything looks like it should continue higher, but I want to make sure I take the money, put it in the bag, and move on to the next setup. I didn't want to leave too much time in this just because I knew that it could retest that high, come back off it, and maybe it doesn't move higher today. So I'm going to watch, I'm going to learn. as it develops, always learning, trying to take things from these trades. I hope you guys learned something from today's video. If anything was unclear, if I wasn't, detailed enough in the analysis here, just drop a comment, let me know. I can clarify any questions that you have. If you want to learn about the system that I'm using to identify these trades, you can definitely drop me a message or use the link below in the description to find out more information about that. And as always, I appreciate you watching very, very much. Make sure you're subscribed, like I said, and I'll see you all in